and I will continue from where I left yesterday. Uh, if you recall, it was because of my daughter who was sick that I was prompted to come to Maharaj. And sometimes it happens that the sufferings that we go through, they become uh, the key to you joining Maharaj. When everything is going on fine, you don't need God. You need God when you are in trouble. And so you remember. And that is what happened. Who knows, if my daughter wasn't well, will I still be making all that effort to join Maharaj, to come to him? Maybe not. So I feel it was good that we were suffering. Because of that suffering, we were mentally prepared to come to Maharaj. But once we came to him, we forgot about all that. But but Guruji did not. He never forgot why we were there, even though I never mentioned to him. From the time I went past Empire State, telling my auntie that here is a Guru, he is very powerful, and he is going to cure my daughter. The daughter started getting cured, and I'm still 4 to 5 months away from being at his lotus feet. And she started getting cured, and we started getting into the motion of moving to Gurgaon. So the first problem we faced was this. She was studying in Delhi, and we needed a bus or a taxi to take my youngest daughter to her school in Delhi. And this was a place where there was nothing. Out of nowhere, we got a message, came across a person who said, I'm just starting a taxi service for children who want to go from here to school. And my daughter perhaps was the only child using that taxi service. And then slowly other children also joined her. And the day her schooling was complete, he sent a message, I'm sorry, I'm not going to continue this service because I have other things to do. So from the time we moved there till the time we needed this service, the taxi was plying between Delhi and Gurgaon. So with that problem solved. The second was we needed to get her admission in Gurgaon, but here was a problem. Because she was sick, she did not take part in the exams and so could not clear the 11th standard. So she had to repeat that class. But we went to a school in Gurgaon. The principal, out of nowhere and without any prompting from us, said, your daughter seems to be a brilliant child, and I feel she should not miss the year, and I have a proposal for you. And the proposal was, prepare your daughter 2 months of holidays, and I will take her exam. And she gets the marks, I will promote her to the 12th standard. Nobody does it. Nobody does it for money. Nobody does it for anything else. She got her admission in 11th but never attended. And the principal said, don't go to the school till you have appeared in this exam. We went to a tutor and told her the same thing. She prepared Shobha for the test and she scored 80% marks. And the principal was magnanimous to accept her in 12th standard without any motivation, financial or otherwise, from us. That is Guruji. And she tells us, I do not know why I'm doing this for your daughter, but I feel I should do it and I'm doing it. The tutor, every Saturday we will go to Mandir and the tutor will be told, ma'am, my daughter will be going to Mandir today with us, so please can we conclude sooner? And the tutor never asked us which Guruji. She never ever asked us. Every Saturday we told her we have to go to our Guruji. And years later, she came across Guruji. She went there, but by the time Maharaj had left his physical form. And she has this regret till date that when you came and Commander Uncle, you were telling me you have to go to Guruji, we should relieve your daughter sooner so that we are not late for Maharaj Darbar. And I never once asked, which Guruji can I go? And so on. She felt bad. Anyone would. But we knew better by that time. And we consoled her with the words that nobody goes to Guruji on his own choice. So you never had that question because Guruji never put that question in your mind. If he wanted you to come, you would have immediately reacted. But you didn't because he didn't want. And not because you are any lesser Sangat today than any of us. But there's a time for everyone. But the reason only he knows. Guruji does not differentiate between a Sangat and another Sangat. He has never done that. He will never do. A mother loves her children just the same. She may treat them differently for a variety of reasons, but she will love them equally. To that extent, there is no difference between Sangat and Sangat, but she could not come because Guruji had set a date and time for her which was much later. So continuing on this journey of my daughter, she got her admission, she did well, and she was uh, getting cured of all her problems. But a lot remained. The eczema had gone, skin had only marks, and which were also fading away. And she had asthma, which was still there, but much better. But I never spoke to Maharaj about it. And my daughter was always asking, why don't you tell Guruji my problem? Why don't you tell him my problem? And I said, I won't. I will not tell him. He knows. You tell someone who does not know, but he knows. But she won't take no for an answer and persuaded my auntie, who spoke to Singla uncle, who was a sevadar in the mandir, and Singla uncle readily agreed and took my daughter and my auntie in front of Guruji. And I am standing behind, almost saying, not me, Guruji, it has nothing to do with me. I won't ask. And Guruji inquired, asked her name, and and then Guruji said, okay, come tomorrow, bring a lota, which is a small vessel in which we keep water. And then I said, Guruji, but she is going to Bangalore tomorrow morning, and it is already almost 10:30, 11 at night, and we are still at Mandir. And then Guruji said, no, she will go day after taking blessings. And so that was end of the argument. You never contradict Guru. We just bowed our head, touched our feet, and took his leave. Went straight to Jet Airways office at the airport at night around 12 o'clock. You have no idea what kind of thoughts come to your mind when Guru has taken charge of you. At 12 o'clock, you don't have Jet Airways office open. The counter closes much sooner. But when we went there, here is a girl sitting at the counter doing nothing. And when we go there, we said, we have this flight tomorrow. We want to shift it to day after. And she promptly says, of course, but show me the ticket. And we said, we haven't got a ticket. And then name, yes, here's the name. And she says, don't bother. I'm booking it for day after morning flight. Tomorrow flight is cancelled. Sometimes during the day tomorrow, show me the ticket and you're good to go. And as soon as we did that, she shut the office, locked it up, and walked away while we were also leaving. Why? Exactly. Guruji Maharaj. He knows. When he has said she will go tomorrow or day after, then he will make every arrangement to make sure she goes day after. But here was a problem. It was winter and mornings used to be very foggy occasionally, very, very foggy. And we were worried that in the morning, if there is fog, then the flights may not take off. And she had to get herself registered for her next semester before noon. But you don't question Maharaj's decision. He has said it is going to be day after. It was day after. And promptly I left my daughter at the airport in the thick of the fog and came home. She reached Bangalore and called me, Papa, mine was the only flight that left that day. Only flight. And it was told to her by the pilot who taxied through fog, lined up through fog and took off. The fog was just good enough for that flight to take off. After that, airport shut the operations. No landing, no takeoffs. And she reached on time, paid up her fee, and continued the studies. But coming back to the blessings, next day we took the lota and it's a copper vessel and presented to Maharaj. We just sat there and he remembered, obviously, he remembered everything. He gave an indication. We went to him. He took it, asked my daughter's name, and then said something uh, to himself, blessed the lota, and gave it back to her. And that lota also did what was supposed to do. She got better and better and better. And when you look at her today, you won't believe. But I need to say something about this lota. Guru is supreme. There's nothing beyond Maharaj. Make no doubt about it. There is just nothing that is beyond him, and there is nothing that he cannot do. So why does he need a lota? Why does he need so many different ways of giving blessing? It is not for him. It is for you. I knew that I don't need a lota to be blessed by Guruji. But my daughter felt she needed to let him know, and Guruji knew that there are devotees and there are devotees and there are different levels of their connection. So, so when you're in the initial stages of your connect, then when you're not taught A, you're taught A for apple. Even though as you grow, you realize apple had nothing to do with A. But apple had to be there for you to understand A. And as you understood A, the apple was pulled out. So blessings and lota has the same connection as A and apple, B and ball, C and cat. They're there. And if you see a young child and you tell him A, and he would never say A. He will always say A for apple. Because to him, A and apple are interconnected. Just like for some of us, the lota and the blessings are interconnected. But somewhere along as you move, similarly, Sarup and blessings are interconnected. Langar and blessings are interconnected. Mandir and blessings are interconnected. But there is a point at which nothing else matters, and then at some point nothing else is visible. You just look around, you see everything in gurus and guru in everything, and that's the ultimate level of connect. Then all these things, and then I need to tell you this. These are the levels where not only you have these these connections and the understanding of how the blessings get connected to different things. You also have this, how should I put it for you? This, okay, I'll come back to this later. Let me get the right words for what I'm trying to say. But it's enough for you to know that he was Guru who understood the depth of understanding of the devotee and did exactly what was required to be done at that level of the devotion. And he himself decides how you will be blessed. But at some point, all these questions that you have when you are getting to know Maharaj and getting to connect with him, and you're saying, I need my questions to be answered. Somebody please tell me. There are kind of things I'm trying to do for you. You can have answers to all the questions that you have. Or you can have all your questions disappeared. And a stage comes when you're not seeking answers, you're seeking nothing. There isn't anything that you need to know. There's nothing to know. There are no questions. And you arrive at the same level of understanding. You can have everything that you desire, or you can have no desires whatsoever. Either way, you are at the same level. You can be a king who owns everything, or you can be a saint who needs nothing. One has all his desires fulfilled, another has got rid of all his desires, and they are both at the same level. And a devotee, as he progresses through his connect with Maharaj and his devotion, he slowly gets rid of all that long laundry list of what he needs from Maharaj before he can be happy. And then there is no end to this. And that is why you are never happy. So let me continue from here. My daughter Shobha completed her studies and went to US for her MBA. She did that at St. Louis, did well, but as you realize, the president changed and he changed the rules, and the rules were such that she had to give up her job and come to India with pretty much no hope of getting back at all. Now, as she was at the Liberty International Airport in front of Starbucks, she spoke to Guruji. She cried there and she told him in as many words, I don't care how you do it. I want to be back here next year and you have to do it. This was not a request. A devotee is like you can fight with your mother and she doesn't mind. She cried in front of that place and she said, Guruji, I don't know, I don't care how you're going to do it. Make it happen and I will be here in front of Starbucks next year. And she cried, broken heart, and came back to India. And here she was trying to apply for different things, and then nothing worked. She tried to apply for PhD courses of different types, nothing succeeded. And next year, we were already in April, whereas all applications were processed sometimes January, February, and admissions were given in April. So she had no hope of going back. Then, out of nowhere, she gets a call from a university in the month of April, towards the end. And she said, would you be interested to join our course, a PhD course? And nobody does this. But she learned that one of her friends from St. Louis had applied on her behalf in April because the girl who was selected earlier, she, for whatever reason, could not pursue the course and the research. So, and they were looking for someone, and this guy gave Shubha's name, and they accepted it and sent her the invite. And she did an interview on phone, and they said, we're sending you a ticket. Come see us. And 3 days later, she was on flight, did the interview, got selected, and before she could come back to the airport, she was in front of the Starbucks cafe. And she gets this message, a mail from the university that we have selected you. This is the date. Please come and join us. The timing was also the same. She was at the same spot where she had fought with Maharaj and said, I don't care how you do it. And he had done it. She cried for different reason, but cried nonetheless. Came back, and days later, she was on a flight back, and she is doing her PhD in Atlanta. with Guruji's grace, and everything is going on fine. You know, there's a difference, and I need to share how I feel. For a lot of time, I had been thinking that when we are searching for happiness, we're looking around for things that will make us happy. If I have this, if I have a Lamborghini, I will probably be happy. If I had a sailing boat, that'll make me more happy. If I had a 5 bedroom penthouse, probably I'll be even happier. Da 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 da, so on. Whereas with time you realize these things don't give you happiness. Happiness is a state of mind. It's in your heart. And I think Guru gives you that state of mind. His connect with you when you know that you are loved by your Guru and that you love him endlessly. I mean, nothing else seems to matter. Then you know the true meaning of happiness. And that is where I will leave Shubha Satsang, which I started first because she was the reason why we came to Guruji. So many times when you suffer and you're upset, I read your status today and I commented. Every word of that statement is true. Nobody, nobody ever progresses, gets elevated spiritually without an element of suffering. It is essential. If you're not suffering, you're getting nowhere. When you're enjoying life, when you are when you are uh, enjoying the physical world, you are essentially spending money from a bank account. But when you suffer, you put money in bank account. That is why they say, if you give some money to a poor man, feed him, he is in a position to give you blessings in return. You feed a rich man, you get nothing. A rich man has nothing to give you. That's why you take care of the old, because they're suffering because of age. They have something to give back to you. Your mother can bless you, your father can bless you, your elders can bless you, because they have endured suffering in this life. The weak and the poor can bless you, but the rich and famous can't bless you. So remember, blessing is something which you can only give if you have it with you. Your bank account should have something. So never step away from suffering. When the difference is only one. When Guru is with you and you're suffering, you know that Guru has put you through the process where you become someday worthy of being called his Sangat. Worthy. He won't leave you. No matter how much time it takes, no matter what he has to do with you, no matter what he will put you through, but he will make you a worthy Sangat. For some, it may take a second. For others, it may take 100 lifetimes. But happen it will. So importance is not of where you want to go. Importance to be given to the journey that you are going to undertake with Guru by your side, holding your hand. Let me come to the experience of my eldest daughter. When Guru takes care of you, he takes care of your family. Whether they come to Guru or they don't. It's just not one person in the family who gets blessed. Your environment gets blessed. So here is my eldest daughter, and she completes her studies, and she wants to get a job. And by the time I'm already going to Maharaj, but never telling him anything, never requesting him for anything. Not at all. So, but she gets a call for an interview, and she leaves for the interview to Delhi from Gurgaon. And when she is there, the lady at the reception looks at her list of candidates and says, "We haven't invited you. You don't even qualify for the job. You don't have the experience of a quality assurance person, so you are not fit for this job. We don't know why you have come." And that was the end of this. And she says, "However, now that you are here, sit down, wait for a while, and see if there is a need for them to talk to you." Every single candidate who was there was rejected, till she was the only one left seated there. And they wanted to know if there's anyone else, and my daughter was sitting and she was called in. They looked at her papers, zero experience and zero studies of quality assurance. And they said, "You have, why are you here?" But one of them then tells us, "Okay, and this is the best part. If we give you this job, do you promise that you'll quickly learn all this and make it work?" And she said, "Of course." And she had the job. That was not the only thing. My wife, my auntie was praying here to Guruji. "Guruji, she has worked so hard, she has studied so much. Get her this job, but at least make sure that she gets paid 10,000 rupees per month." Now, look at the kind of things you can tell your Guru. And he takes it because he loves you for being his Sangat. And there, when they are talking to her about her salary, look at the connect. The lady speaks to her and says, "Well, will it be okay if we pay you 10,000 rupees a month?" And she said, "Yes." And that was that. She comes back and my wife tells her that, "I prayed for you to get 10,000 rupees per month salary. And guess what?" Daughter was upset. "Mama, if you had asked Guruji for 10,000, you could have asked 30,000 rupees also." So it's never enough, isn't it? But the 30,000 rupees as a figure got registered with Maharaj. And when she switched job, they simply interviewed her and said, "Should we offer you 30,000 rupees?" And so 30,000 it was. And now the question was, why, why didn't we say 100,000 rupees? There seems to be no end. But this was in a lighter way. Maharaj has a great sense of humor, unbelievable sense of humor. Half the time he will bless you also as part of his humor, but the blessings are real. Now, coming to another aspect of my eldest daughter, we were looking for her to get married, and one fine day we put an ad in the newspaper. A family in Faridabad is sitting and they're also trying to get their daughter married. So they have also put an ad in the newspaper for their daughter. And as the family is sitting in their house, somebody knocks at the door. They open the door, and there is this sadhu or a saintly figure standing in the door, tall, handsome, and this the lady of the house says, "Yes, Baba, what do you need?" He says, "I don't need anything. Just give me a glass of tea." So she goes inside to prepare the tea, and this sadhu standing there tells this gentleman, "You are trying to get your daughter married, but my advice to you is get your son married first and start looking at the grooms, the girls for your son." He has the tea and then he disappears. These people go back and check with the security. No one had entered there. But they instead of looking for a boy for their daughter, immediately they turned looking for girl for their son and found my daughter's name there and then called me. And we went and met, found, and the marriage did not take long. So when Guru blesses you, you know how much effort is put in from his end? Unbelievable. Left to you and me, we go nowhere. But when you leave it to him, he holds your hand and takes you on that journey. Move to another little anecdote. My daughter got married, and one fine day, she was unhappy about being in Noida and complained to Guruji. "Guruji, I want to go out of this place." That night, Guruji comes in her dream and tells her, "Don't worry, in 2 years from now, you will be abroad." And so next day morning, she's very upset, and she called my auntie and she says, "Mama, Guruji came in the dream and said, 2 years you will be abroad. I don't want to go abroad. All just I wanted was not to be in Noida." So I told her, "You should be careful what you ask, because when you get it, you get it. If you want to make sure good things happen, you make sure you let Guruji handle that." Just about year and a half later from that day, her husband went to Germany for some business related work. They liked him and they said, "Why don't you just join us and we'll handle your office in Bangalore?" And before they could say Jack Robinson, 3 months later, they were in Germany and they have been there since then. And it was 2 years from the time she had that dream. He listens. And if he thinks it is for your own good, he will make it happen very quickly. But he sees what you don't even remotely see and understand. And therefore, when things don't happen as per your demands, Don't worry. Because he knows what is good for you. You don't. If a child asks for a knife, do you just hand it over to him? No, you don't. And the child can cry as much as he can. The mother will never give. Or for that matter, if he wants to put his finger in that electric holder, or for that matter, put his finger in the hot stove, you will not let him. If the child just want to open the door and walk away, you will not. Because you know you are the mother. And Guru is our mother. He knows. So never question. The best part is never question. If possible, never ask. If you ask, you must. Then be very careful what you ask. Because I'm going to explain to you, and if I don't, remind me tomorrow to tell you what happened when I insisted on something and then the suffering that I endured because I asked for something which wasn't good for me. Now, there in Germany, it's been 13 odd years, maybe more. Let me now come to my youngest daughter. And with that, I would have summed up the experiences of my children. The youngest one was also a very cool devotee of Maharaj. And I sometimes wonder, you and me, at least I'm saying my generation, had too many questions to be answered before we could submit ourselves uh, uh, to God's will. But the way Guru has been able to attract the little ones to him, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old, in today's times when the hip hop culture is taking charge of the youth, Guruji has found a way to connect these youngsters to him like a glue, inseparable bond. A ditto for this youngster. She did her 12th and we went to Guruji. She cleared with great marks, no problems, applied for engineering college admission, and we were not sure what was happening. We had applied for different places. But that day when we went to Guruji, Guruji somehow realized that this young child needs special blessings. So we took Agya and went out. But when the youngest one asked for Agya, Guruji said, "Go to my room and sit there for some time." Now, because you have already taken Agya, we will not go inside. So quietly we waited and waited. Now this little one was in Guruji's room, just sitting there alone, just soaking in the bliss, the fragrance, the ambience, and everything. And after some time, of course, Maharaj knew that Commander Uncle and Auntie are waiting outside. So he sends a Sevadar and says, "Call them in." So we go in and we sit there, and then youngest one, the Ila, comes out and joins us. And then Guruji at sometimes 1:30 in the morning gets a Sevadar to prepare prasad, halwa prasad, special one, and then we have it, and then we are given agya to go. And next day, she get the results that her admission in Amity College has been approved. So we come back next Saturday and want to tell Guruji, Maharaj, your blessings. This has happened because it's like whenever something happens, you go to your parents, you tell them. For us, Guruji was our father. He is our father. The fact that he's God is a different aspect altogether. We never connected to a God. We connected to a father, a very loving, caring parent, someone who meant everything to us. So we will go there and share small, small things. So my auntie goes to Guruji because I won't speak. I cannot. I couldn't. And says, Guरुji, बेटी का एडमिशन हो गया. And Guruji says, बेटियों को तो मैं और I bless daughters so easily. I do all that they want. So we were so happy. Similarly, when the eldest one was blessed with a son, we came to Guruji, and my auntie said to him, Guruji, we need your blessings because the eldest one has been blessed with a son. And Guruji says, of course, she got a son because I had blessed her. So you already had the blessing. That is why you have this boy. So everything that happens in our lives happens because of Guruji. This youngest one never wanted to travel abroad. Never. She had absolutely no interest. But Guruji had other plans. So her uh, employer wanted to send her to US, and I said, okay. There was no way you're going to get your H1B, so try nevertheless. But when Guruji has decided to put it all together for you, then everything happens just like A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, as easy as elementary as that. Everything happened. And next thing we realized, she was on her way to US and she's there. Not only that, during the hard times of the Corona, she got promoted also. Who does this? How can that happen? It happens because of Maharaj. So, one of the biggest thing that Guruji has done for me is taking away my worries regarding my children. They are his children. We are his children. We all belong to him. And we are basically his problem. He has to solve it. I have nothing to do with it. So that is as far as the experiences of my daughters are there. We will continue from here tomorrow. I hope whatever I'm telling you is making sense. Thank you so much for joining me.